Bald-headed, wig-wearing, fossil, Paula Metzler, Penfield Town Court. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime. Why do you think the name of this YouTube is Order of Protection Signed in Handcuffs? You know why? Given your age and enfeeblement and disgusting, vile, sickening criminal hack existence on Penfield Town Court, I'm concerned you don't remember what you have done to me. I was in Penfield Town Court as I was transferred from Livingston County Jail. And why was I in Livingston County Jail as an innocent man when I've lived in Monroe County for 9 years? You're going to have to answer that question for the United States Department of Justice. Because even though I'm using your name, you disgusting, sick, bankrupt, fucking hack, Paula Metzler, I'm talking to the United States Department of Justice. Why was I in Livingston County? I believe that I would be attacked if I was at Monroe County Jail by one of Sheriff Todd Baxter's fanatic degenerates sociopaths, because that happened to me when I was at Monroe County Jail as an innocent man, when I was deposited in there by John P. Lomenzo Jr. without a jury. Without him asking me one question, he just declared me guilty and I went to jail. After my head was snapped back at the gym by a violent thug named Jermaine C. Benman. I'm charged with harassment second in the backseat of a vehicle. Jermaine C. Benman appeared before you, James P. Mully Jr., because you cut a deal with Jessica Wagner, the district attorney's office, to let this violent thug walk right out the door, Jr. I get a subpoena to go into the Penfield Town Court. I'm ordered out of the room. That's because you, James P. Mully Jr., and Jessica Wagner at the district attorney's office negotiated a deal for this criminal to walk right out the door. Jessica Wagner is no longer employed at the district attorney's office because her name's not on the payroll. And I contacted District Attorney Sandra Dorley's office immediately about her. And I don't know why she's not there anymore, but I hope she was fired because of me. And what I'm trying to do is remove you two criminals from Penfield Town Court, and I'm relentless, and I'm confident I can achieve it. So, Paula Metzler, I'm standing there in handcuffs. After I was transported from Livingston County Jail, they just came and got me and said I'm supposed to be in Penfield Town Court. I wasn't going to be told beforehand. And there I am. And I'm signing an order of protection and handcuffs because I was forced to sign an order of protection and handcuffs because I knew I wasn't coming out of them. And there you are underneath that pathetic wig with that order of protection for me. Why do Layla Kumar and Neeraj Shah, these parasites that live at 2041 Penfield Road, require an order of protection? Answer that question. You can't, because they don't. You're just using it as a humiliation device upon me. Why do two people I have never met require an order of protection? You have to explain that to the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Andrew Cuomo, the Speaker and Majority Leader in Albany, the Committee on the Judiciary for the House of Representatives, the Committee on the Judiciary, the United States Senate, because I am relentless in contacting people to remove you. And I've been on YouTube for 18 months to get to the point where I'm going to send every single YouTube, which is 50 plus YouTube videos, and the transcript. So there can be no doubt as to what I'm saying about you. For example, I sent you a YouTube called Invasion of Privacy, Paula Metzler on Penfield Town Court. I just had a look at it on my Windows to make sure it's right. Invasion of Privacy, Paula Metzler. Now, you already received this. Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act. I believe I got that federal law right. Why did you ask me about my health history? And I'm not going to say it on this YouTube, as this is an open forum, but you know what you said to me, and I know what you said to me. Why did you ask me about my health? You looked down and you had a piece of paper in front of you. I'm going to tell the State Department of Health in Albany, the Federal Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., and the Office of Governor Andrew Cuomo that you broke state and federal law by having a document in front of you that discloses my health information. There's no doubt about that. There's not even a question as to if you broke the law. You broke the law. You have access to my health information. The only individuals that I have told about what you were looking at on that piece of paper are my mother, my father, and my ex-girlfriend. That's it. Anybody else that finds out, it's not from me. So Paula Metzler, what's the name of the person at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office that, one, told you about my health history on that document, and two, provided you with the piece of paper that you read to me? You will have to answer. I hope you refuse. I'm going to repeat that. You will have to answer, and you will refuse to answer because corruption refuses. How do you possibly explain an order of protection for two people I've never met? And how now you're trying to use that document to deposit me in jail again? And there's no interest from you whatsoever, as I said repeatedly, as to why I'm in front of you. Because it's an assembly line of guilt in Penfield Town Court for you, Paula C. Metzler, you, James P. Mully Jr., and you disgusting, revolting 70-year-old child rapist protection racket, John P. Lomenzo Jr. Everybody's guilty. Isn't that right? Because you're refusing to comply with these documents. First one I sent you was on December 16th, a month ago. The name, charge, and sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Lomenzo Jr., James P. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. It is attached, along with the other documents that are updated. And you're refusing to comply because it's guilty, 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 guilty. Everybody's guilty. How is that possibly explained to the United States Department of Justice? Why do Layla Kumar and Nayran Shah require order of protection from me? Click reply and answer. Why do two people I have never met require an order of protection? That can't be explained, you bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal, to any rational person. And you're not a rational person because you're an extremist and a fanatic and a degenerate. That cannot be explained, Paula C. Metzler. Now, there's a YouTube called Hatred, and I'm waiting for them to bang on the side of the residence, bang on the front door, bang on the sliding glass door in the back. Did you see that? You called the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to my residence, correct? It had to be you. If it's not you, then you knew about it beforehand. But I believe it was you, and that's what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. And I will never come into Penfield Town Court and fuck you in that bald head and that wig. Go ahead, concoct other charges with me. Because you as one person is sitting there in your library, and you conclude that I need to go to jail, and I should walk in there and allow you to send me to jail. Where's the jury, you bald-headed, wig-wearing extremist, fanatic, and degenerate? Where is it? This is why you're a bald-headed, wig-wearing extremist, fanatic, and degenerate. Because you love sitting up there as one person and destroying lives. A bench trial, correct? Do I have that right? A bench trial is where a bald-headed, wig-wearing extremist, fanatic, and degenerate declares an innocent man guilty and has the sheriff's office deposit that innocent man in jail. Did Sheriff Todd Baxter provide you with my health insurance and health care history? Is the answer yes or no? If the answer is yes, then it's Sheriff Todd Baxter. If the answer is no, then what's the name of the person in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office that you had contact with that provided you with my health care information? Because I'm in there, and you look down and you said what you said to me. Why are you asking me about my health and my health history and the disposition of my ability to function as a normal human being in court when I'm there to answer concocted criminal charges? Because I'm not aware of any judge that suddenly becomes a doctor or a mental health counselor in court. Yet there you are, as Dr. Paula Metzler, whack job, as Dr. Paula Metzler, mental health therapist. I mean, are you a part-time shrink somewhere in Penfield, Monroe County, or Rochester that I should know about? Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act. I believe I have that right, also called HIPAA. You violated my rights under the Health Insurance Privacy Protection Act. There's no doubt about that. Paula Metzler. And the fact that you violated my civil and constitutional rights and my privacy under HIPAA is why I'm wearing this shirt. Because this shirt is for a 5K in Fairport called the Scum Jumper. And when I think about you, Paula C. Metzler, I think about scum. Because a little town judge in a town of 36,000 that has enforces an innocent man to sign an order of protection for two people he's never met is scum. It's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. It's exactly what you are, Paula Metzler. You are scum, Paula Metzler. And I know exactly what you're thinking. He needs to be arrested for using this language. This is called exercising my First Amendment right, Paula Metzler. Does the name Daniel DeLouse III sound familiar to you? It does. Our 5 Mile Line Road in Penfield is Anitel Luster, and that's where Daniel DeLouse III was observed by witnesses trying to entice children into his vehicle because he's a child rapist. And he was brought to 70-year-old John P. Lomenzo Jr., your predecessor. He doesn't disclose that he has a relationship with Daniel DeLouse II and the family, and he lets Daniel DeLouse III go, provides him with his freedom, and then he's subsequently rearrested again because he's a child rapist. This is who you replaced. What do you think about that fact? You're sitting there in your little library courtroom in replacing a 70-year-old extremist that's a child rapist protection racket for Daniel DeLouse III. Did he give you any advice your first day violating the civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens? Did you look to him as a mentor? Because I bet you did. And you're so delusional. You don't know that this guy's a criminal because you're a criminal. There's no doubt about this. When I send 500 to 1,000 pages to the United States Department of Justice, it's going to detail precisely why you're a criminal. I'm signing an order of protection in handcuffs. I know I'm not coming out of those order protections if I don't sign it. And now you're trying to send me back to jail because Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah, these two parasites, received an email from me that was also the same email sent to the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office. Does everybody at the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office require an order of protection from me? They keep coming to you, this 50-year-old man who lives with his mommy, and since you're an extremist, you can't identify extremism with these two. They are consumed by hatred. You can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Why is that? Every single person in Penfield, New York can walk through this parking lot without being arrested. Every single person in Monroe County can walk through this parking lot without being arrested, except for me. Why is that? Because of these two parasites. They're going to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and demanding that I should be arrested for walking through this parking lot my neighbors walk through every day. Do you know where Harris Whalen Park is? Bald-headed, wig-wearing Paula Metzler? Because they had the Independence Day celebration there in 2018 and 2019. The accusatory instrument for me is walking through the parking lot. I personally witnessed 200 people walk through this parking lot in a 15-minute period after the fireworks. Before the fireworks, Penfield High School band students were walking through this parking lot. If it's a crime to walk through this parking lot, a Penfield High School band student should have been arrested. Because I have the same 14th Amendment right as a Penfield High School band student. Scum Paula Metzler on Penfield Town Court. So I had to sign this order of protection for Layla Kumar Shah at the YMCA. And I've said this before, but you need to have the truth hammered into your corrupt brain. So I'm at the back of the YMCA one day and I'm on the rowing machine. I just want to be left alone. I see Layla Kumar Shah in the back and I'm rowing for about 10 minutes. And here she comes walking toward me, this parasite that you have empowered to descend on me with her hatred. And I'm on the rowing machine. I'm thinking, just please leave me alone and walk by me. And here, this parasite comes up to me, stands in front of me in the rowing machine. I'm looking up at her, and I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with this woman? Why does she just leave me alone? I'm on the rowing machine. And she points oddly to something next to me. And then I say to her loudly, what's my name? You know my name. This frightens her. And she goes over to the YMCA employees wearing a shirt that says YMCA trainer. She points at me and says, he doesn't belong to YMCA. And then the YMCA trainer says to Layla Kumar Shah, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she walked away and left the room. This is what you're empowering to descend on me. This hate-consumed, vile, disgusting woman. And you're a hate-consumed, vile, disgusting woman. So you can identify with Layla Kumar Shah. I will never come into Penfield Town Court, Paula Metzler. And I'm going to say this repeatedly. A corrupt town judge doesn't summon an innocent man into a library to declare that innocent man guilty and send that person to jail. I'm not coming. I will never come in there. And if, in fact, I'm violently deposited in there, I will be screaming at you and screaming over you. You will not be able to talk, Paula Metzler, if I am in Penfield Town Court in your presence. I'm telling you what I'm going to do to you. I will scream at you in the most ferocious way. Now, on August 30th, Paula Metzler, sitting again going to be what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice about your corruption, extremism, fanaticism, and hatred. You were called by an individual at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, correct? Was it Sheriff Todd Baxter? I'm going to repeat myself on certain points that need to be repeated. You were called on August 30th to impose a bench trial upon me. You're imposing this proceeding on me that I'm not even aware of when I wake up that morning. What did I just say, Paula Metzler? Doesn't that sound like extremism, hatred, and fanaticism that the United States Department of Justice is going to be interested in? Because when I wake up that August 30th, I'm not aware I'm supposed to be anywhere, especially in Penfield Town Court, because I'm going to go about my normal day. Do you understand me, bald-headed, wig-wearing criminal? So, I leave my residence. I go down to Canandaigua National Bank, and I withdraw $40 to bring it up to $61.39 because that's the check I was subsequently given. So I had $21.39 in my pocket. I walk back down Penfield Road. I make a right on Sanders Farm Drive. I make a left on Willow Pond Way, and then I see the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees passing me. I get to the pharmacy entrance of Wegmans. 5 of their vehicles converge upon me. I turn my head to the left because I hear them, and I do not see a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee run at me, lower his shoulder. He jams his shoulder into the small of my back, and I crash upon the cement pavement, and my head ricochets off the cement pavement, and I'm laying on my side, and that's when I counted 11 of them. What would you think if you were violently attacked, Paula Metzler, outside the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans, and your head slammed against the concrete pavement, Paula Metzler? Because Paula Metzler, I had to get an MRI, and I've showed this instructions. Your imaging is normal. You may use Tylenol 1000 mg alternating with Motrin 600 mg, so that one medication taken every 3 hours as needed for pain. As needed for pain. When your head slams against the concrete pavement anywhere, you're going to be in pain. And I was in that MRI tube because of one of Todd Baxter's fanatics. What do you think about what I just said to you, Paula? That's because you were called. And then they took me from Wegmans after the MRI. I went from Wegmans to the MRI to you, where you're waiting for me. And you pronounced me guilty without asking me one word. How is that possibly explained? Who called you, Paula Metzler? Was it Sheriff Todd Baxter? Was it an undersheriff? One of his employees called you, and why wasn't there an assistant district attorney there? You imposed a bench trial upon me. And I'm going to say this to the office of Sandra Dorley. When I write this down, I'm going to send this transcript also to her. And I'm going to say, Madam District Attorney, how come there wasn't a prosecutor? And are you aware that Paula C. Metzler in Penfield Town Court is imposing a bench trial upon me? How is this possibly explained to the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Andrew Cuomo, to the editors and reporters of the Democrat and Chronicle? How do you explain it? You'll have to explain fanaticism, extremism, and hatred. And that's your fanaticism, extremism, and hatred. Today, Raj and Layla Kumar Shah go to Sheriff Baxter. This is Shannon Meyer wrote this. I took every sentence and I responded to it. And I said this in a previous YouTube 48 hours ago. This is what I'm next to here. Going to the sheriff about me walking through this parking lot. How come you, Paula Metzler, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested? How come Eric Metzler can walk through his parking lot without being arrested? Oh, pardon me. Eric Metzler's dead. So, upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shah. V, victim, what a joke. V. Shah, I hope you're in eternal pain because of the death of Eric Metzler. Anybody deserves to be a widow in the United States of America. It's you, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paul Metzler. Upon my arrival, I spoke with V. Shah. He's a victim upon the arrival of Shannon Meyer and his $67,000 nauseating existence. This is the corruption of Todd Baxter. Someone is a victim because I walked through a parking lot. So, and Paula, on your bald head, I'm going to be sending you a wig. I'm not exaggerating. I will send you a wig to wear. Because your bald head looks just like this guy. Isn't that right? And Paula, look who's afraid to open his mouth. The sheriff of Monroe County. I'm going to tell you about the concoction of a crime, attempted assault. I leave my residence on August 30th. I walk alongside my residence. 2 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees, Don Benedetto was one of them, hid in the bushes across the street, waiting for me to come outside. I leave my residence because I'm going to Wegmans. I walk alongside my residence. They come running at me from the bushes. I don't know what that is. I turn around. I run alongside my residence. I run to the back porch. One of the Monroe County Sheriff Office employees grabbed my arm. The hammer I just grabbed inside of the residence goes up. I pull away. I run back into my residence. That's how they concocted a felony for me. And one of Sheriff Todd Baxter's, one of these two criminals, says I swung a hammer at him. If I wanted to swing a hammer at someone on my back porch when I'm being chased, I would have swung a hammer at him. And as I've told Sheriff Todd Baxter's office, his employee is lucky I didn't bring that hammer down on his head, because I would have ended his career. If I wanted to swing a hammer at someone, I would have swung a hammer at his employee. And they charged me with a felony on my back porch when running away. This is who you're with at the sheriff's office. This type of extremism. You enforce the extremism and the fanaticism of Sheriff Todd Baxter, because you can identify with extremism and fanaticism. I sent this to him, Todd K. Baxter, Sheriff Rockridge. Walked through the parking lot, right? This was sent on May 12, 2019. 4 people have walked through the Holy Roman Todd Baxter parking lot this morning. That was before 10 a.m. on May 12th. Every day people walk through this parking lot. These parasites are coming to you. What was your contact with Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah? You've talked to them on the phone. They're telling you I should be arrested. They're telling you what you should do in Penfield Town Court. This is also what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice. And I'm going to be in contact with them, because I want you to have to explain I signed that order of protection and handcuffs. I'm going to send them what I sent to the United States Department of Justice, what I sent to the Office of Andrew Cuomo, what I sent to the New York State Legislature, what I sent to James B. Kennedy Jr., the United States Attorney for the Western District of New York. I'm going to send to them. Go ahead and charge me. Because since I'm using their names, I'm going to send them the documentation. Because since I'm using their names, they have a right to know what I'm saying about them. Charge me. I want you to charge me with a crime and say I violated this order of protection. I signed in handcuffs, because you're going to have to explain why you wrote it and why I'm in handcuffs. And more importantly, why do 2 people I've never met require an order of protection? You are sick, disgusting, vile, nauseating, repulsive hack. How do you exist with yourself? That's not a rhetorical question. How do you exist with yourself? How do you exist with decency, morality, and ethics and virtue? Because you don't have decency, morality, ethics, and virtue. So, Paula Metzler, I'm demanding a list of every defendant in Penfield Town Court. And I'm going to update this, but you have it now. It is attached. The name, charges, sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court before John P. Metzler Jr., James P. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. You received that on December 16th. You received that on December 17th. You received that on December 18th. You received that on December 26th. You received that on December 27th. You received that on December 28th. You received that on December 29th. You received that on December 30th. You received that on January 2nd. You received that on January 3rd. You received that on January 5th. You received that on January 6th. Every single time you refused to comply with the name, charges, sentence of every defendant in Penfield Town Court for John P. Metzler Jr., James P. Mully Jr., and Paula Metzler. That's because everybody's guilty. It's not a single person that walks into Penfield Town Court and is acquitted. And how do you explain that to the United States Department of Justice? As an innocent man at Monroe County Jail, I went and I took an envelope from the circular desk at the jail to remind myself to be relentless. I am relentless. And it says, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.